Breaking Bad showed a teacher cooking meth to pay for cancer treatment. Millions watched and thought, thank God that's just TV. But what if I told you cancer actually does push regular people into crime? Ever wonder how many law-abiding citizens break the law after getting diagnosed? Today, I'll explain why cancer diagnoses increase criminal behavior by 14%, like you're 5 years old. By the end, you'll understand what drives normal people to commit crimes when they get sick. And it has nothing to do with television. Researchers studied thousands of people who got cancer diagnoses. They compared them to people who didn't get cancer. Same neighborhoods, same income, same backgrounds. The only difference was one group got the diagnosis. That group committed 14% more crimes afterward. Not because cancer made them evil or they watched too much TV, but because getting cancer in America is like getting handed a bill for a house you'll never live in. So what crimes are we talking about here exactly? It's not meth empires or dramatic heists at all. Nothing like that. It's insurance fraud and prescription forgeries mostly. It's stealing medications directly from pharmacies. It's embezzling from their own employers to survive. It's taking money from their own family members. These are people who've never broken the law in their lives. People who return their shopping cart, even when it's raining. People who stop at stop signs, even at 3 a.m. when nobody's watching. Then they get diagnosed and suddenly they're Googling how to forge a prescription at 2 a.m. They can't afford pain medication and can't sleep without it. Here's what happens when you get cancer exactly. Two separate disasters hit at once, right away. First major problem, your income vanishes completely. You can't work full-time anymore at your job. Maybe you can't work at all, for months or years. Chemotherapy doesn't care that you have a mortgage. Radiation appointments don't schedule around your warehouse shift. Surgery recovery doesn't speed up because rent is due Tuesday. You need money more than ever, right when you can't earn any. It's like your car breaking down the same day you get fired, except your body is the car and there's no mechanic who can fix it quickly. Second thing that hits hard, the bills arrive fast. Not normal bills you're used to seeing each month. Bills that look like someone added extra zeros as a prank. The average cancer treatment costs $150,000 to $200,000. Some cancers cost way more, sometimes $500,000 or even more than that. Even with insurance, you're looking at tens of thousands out of pocket. Deductibles, copays, out-of-network charges because the only specialist available doesn't take your insurance. Medications that cost $3,000 per dose. Your insurance covers 80%, which sounds great until you realize 20% of $200,000 is still $40,000. That's a car. That's your kid's college fund and your retirement in one bill. Now imagine making decisions in that situation. You're terrified. You're in pain. You're exhausted from treatment. Your bank account is draining like someone pulled the plug on a bathtub. You're not thinking about long-term consequences. You're thinking, how do I pay for next month's treatment? That's it. That's the only thought. It's like being trapped in a burning building. You're not carefully considering the safest exit. You're jumping out the nearest window because the alternative is worse. Researchers call this financial toxicity, fancy term for medical bills are poisoning your entire life. Imagine a video game where your health bar is dropping, but refilling it costs all your gold. You need that gold for food and rent. So you either die in the game or steal someone else's gold and maybe survive longer. Those are your options. There's no good choice. Just terrible and slightly less terrible if you don't get caught. Here's where it gets worse. The study controlled for everything. They weren't comparing rich people to poor people. They weren't comparing criminals to non-criminals. They compared people to themselves. What crimes did they commit before cancer versus after? The difference was clear. Law-abiding people started committing crimes after diagnosis, not because cancer changes your morals, but because treatment costs so much that crime looks like the only way to survive. Think about that. We built a healthcare system so expensive it turns regular people into criminals. A teacher who never got a speeding ticket commits insurance fraud. A nurse who spent her career helping people steals medications from her own hospital. A dad who coached Little League embezzles from his company because his daughter has leukemia and insurance denied treatment. These aren't TV fantasies. These are real people making desperate choices because the system gave them no good options. And here's the part that should make you furious. This doesn't happen in other countries. Canada? You get cancer, you get treatment, you don't go bankrupt. Same with the UK, Germany, France, Japan, Australia. Every other developed nation figured out how to treat cancer without forcing people to choose between life and life savings. But America? We act like this is normal. We normalized medical bankruptcy so completely, we make TV shows about it and call them entertainment instead of horror documentaries. The Breaking Bad effect isn't about TV inspiring crime. It's about a show accidentally revealing a crisis so severe we only noticed when packaged as prestige television. Walter White wasn't a cautionary tale about pride. He was a mirror showing us what our healthcare system does to people. We all watched thinking, thank God that's fiction, while real people made the exact same calculations. Do I commit a crime or do I die? Do I steal or let my kids suffer? Do I break the law or lose everything? This matters even if you've never had cancer, even if you're young and healthy, because health doesn't last forever. Bodies break down, accidents happen, genetics don't care about your gym routine. When something goes wrong, not if, when, you face the same impossible choice. Pay for treatment and lose everything, or skip treatment and hope, or find some third option involving breaking laws you never imagined breaking. That's not a scare tactic, that's math. Medical debt causes more bankruptcies than anything else in America. Over 60% of bankruptcies involve medical bills. You can do everything right and still drown. Some people say this is about personal responsibility. People should save more, budget better, make smarter choices. But you can't budget your way out of cancer. You can't coupon clip your way to affording chemotherapy. Saving $50 a month doesn't mean much when you need $50,000 by Tuesday or they cancel your surgery. It's like telling someone their house is flooding and handing them a teaspoon to bail water. Technically, you gave them a tool. Realistically, you're watching them drown while pretending you helped. The real Breaking Bad effect isn't crime going up. It's a healthcare system so broken that a 14% crime increase barely makes news. We saw that statistic and shrugged. Of course desperate people commit crimes. Of course cancer patients break laws to survive. We've accepted it. We decided this is fine. We watch people choose between feeding kids and buying insulin, between rent and heart medication, between fraud and dying. We collectively agreed this is just how things work. That's the real horror. Not that people break bad, but that we're okay with it. We see it happening and change the channel. Want to know the wildest part? These crimes often don't even work. Insurance fraud gets caught. Forged prescriptions get flagged. Embezzlement gets discovered. So people commit crimes out of desperation, crimes that might not even save them, and then face criminal charges on top of cancer. It's like drowning and grabbing an anchor thinking it's a life preserver. The system fails them twice. Once by making treatment unaffordable. Again, by punishing them for trying to survive. They end up with criminal records that destroy future job prospects. And it's not just the patients committing crimes. Family members do too. A husband steals from his employer to pay for his wife's treatment. A daughter commits credit card fraud to cover her dad's medication. A sister lies on insurance forms to get her brother care. Cancer doesn't just push one person toward crime, it pushes everyone who loves that person. The 14% increase? That's just diagnosed patients. Add in family members, and the number gets even uglier. The ripple effect destroys entire families, financially and legally. To recap, cancer diagnoses increase crime by 14% because treatment costs explode while income vanishes. People commit fraud, theft, and forgery just to afford staying alive. The study proved regular people become criminals specifically because of cancer costs. This doesn't happen in other developed countries. And we've normalized this crisis so completely, we made award-winning TV about it instead of fixing the actual problem. So here's my question for you. If getting sick turns law-abiding people into criminals just to survive, are we really going to keep pretending the healthcare system works?